why most martial arts schools never reach their full potential. So, my name's Sensei Dervish, I run Martial Arts School Mastery, and I'm going to talk about today why most martial arts schools never reach their full potential. So, with my work with martial arts school owners, and obviously been involved in the arts for coming up to 30 years now, maybe even 30 years, I don't know. You get to notice patterns of instructors and those that have really, really successful schools and those that have schools that are just ticking over. And again, technical ability does not mean that you're going to have a successful school. So I'm sure watching this now, you're going to be technically gifted, you're going to have a high level of proficiency in your art, obviously you're likely to be the head instructor or the chief instructor of your school and so on. Fantastic. That will help in some way to keep students around, to obviously motivate them moving through the grades and the ranks and so on. However, technical ability doesn't build successful schools. Systems build schools, business knowledge builds schools. Obviously having a mentor, somebody obviously holding you accountable, those will help build schools, but technical ability won't necessarily build schools. So if you're looking to improve on retention, obviously that boils down to systems. If you're looking to increase new members, the number of enrollments you're getting every month, that needs systems, that needs knowledge. And not only does it need knowledge of marketing and sales, which again is fantastic, it needs industry specific knowledge of marketing and sales and so on. So again, being technically gifted is definitely not a disadvantage, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that instructor is going to be able to build a highly successful school. They're more likely to build a highly successful school if they manage to adopt or develop that skill set, if they apply the same attitude to developing the business owner's mindset as well and skill set. So the second point I've just scribbled down here, common limiting beliefs. So this list could have gone on for a long time. My style isn't popular. I teach Tai Chi, I teach Kung Fu, I teach, you insert the martial art there. Okay? So don't be thinking on, what the particular pop culture is at the moment, or what, particular films are out or anything like that. Or for instance, UFC, if I'm not teaching MMA, if I'm not teaching BJJ, if I'm teaching an old school traditional art like judo or traditional karate or something like that, then I've got no chance. Again, it's the battle's already in there, and we need to make sure that it's not your art, it's the mindset that's going to help you move further forward or pull you back. Plus also, parents don't know as much about martial arts as you'd like to think, or as you probably give them credit for. Now, I mentioned this in my book, and I don't mean that in any disrespectful way, but obviously you being a high-grade martial artist will know the difference pretty much from somebody wearing a judo suit, a BJJ suit, a karate suit, a taekwondo suit, and so on. You might watch the style for 10 seconds and know immediately what style it is and so on. However, parents won't particularly know. All right, so make sure we have that, that self-limiting belief of my style isn't popular, I wish I did karate and that type of thing. I mean, you could rewind the clock and think, during the 1980s or whenever Karate Kid came out, the original one, how good would it have been to teach karate? During the 70s and so on, how good would it have been to teach Kung Fu and so on with the Bruce Lee era and that type of thing? So there's always going to be self-limiting beliefs up here. Another one as well is my area, they can't afford it in my area, we're demographically challenged and so on. Now, in some instances, if you've chosen to open up in a horrendous area, in a town that's really on the decline, then yes, of course, that's going to have an impact. However, a lot of it is going to be around your mindset on your marketing, how often you're doing the marketing and so on, which should pretty much be every day, and also how you're positioning your school. This again then links down to people in my area can't afford it. So be aware of having these self-limiting beliefs, which are then going to project across your team and result in lower number of leads coming through, lower number of intro 1s, intro 2s, and enrollments and so on. So my style isn't popular is a common self-limiting belief. Another one is people in my area won't pay. I live in a bad area, and so on. Okay, so just constantly be aware of the self-limiting beliefs you might tell yourself. Another one on here, why instructors stay stuck. This is unfortunately one of the ones that's really squashing many school owners. They're doing exactly the same as they were last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Okay, things need to evolve. Things need to continually improve. So again, I mention this a lot in my book and across the blogs as well. And just in case I forget, if this is the first video you've watched, make sure you invest in a copy of that off Amazon. How to build a highly profitable martial arts school by me. There is over 320, 30, 40, I don't know, over 300 pages there of extremely valuable, industry specific, not generic business advice, industry specific advice that will help you improve your school without a doubt. So getting back to what I was saying there, what was I saying? That's why I have these notes right down here. Yeah, so instructors stay stuck because they've got a tendency to do things that they've always done. Why do you do this? Like when I go out and I'll do a school intensive performance day, I'll say, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you do this? And they'll say, that's the way we've always done it. So whenever anybody says to me, that's the way we've always done it, including my team as well, that does not necessarily mean it's the best way of doing it. Okay? So how's your, marketing process? What are you doing to market? If it's word of mouth, you're already pretty much well and truly on the back foot there. Okay, word of mouth will help. It'll get you a trickle of students. If it's systemized, it'll get you even more. But what type of outbound stuff are you doing? I'm not obviously going to just talk about SEO or Facebook or Google Ads or anything like that. Are you getting out into your community? Are you doing free taste sessions at Girl Guides, Beavers, Scouts, Cubs, local youth centres, anything like that? Are you working in the community at weekends when they have open days and fairs and so on like that? So getting out into your community so people know that you and your excellent school exist. So, and then what's your intro process like? Are they turning up and a student's just being thrown into a normal lesson? You as a head instructor or another one of your high instructors, are you just taking a lesson and having one of your new students only being taught by a brown belt or something like that? Now, obviously, brown belt in BJJ and so on, fantastic. But what I'm getting at there is you shouldn't just throw them into a normal class and expect them to have a fantastic experience, especially if they're only being, looked after by a lower grade. That's better than nothing, but everything should be, stage managed well. Your intro 1 process, your intro 2 process, the enrollment conference, and so on, okay? Including the third lesson, progress folder, and including numerous progress checks throughout the first 90, 120 days. Okay, so we should always be looking at things like that. How can I improve every single element of my member's journey? And I haven't said it yet, and we must be about, 8-10 minutes in. The 2 roles for you as a martial arts school owner, only 2. Number 1, learn to attract and enroll a student. And number 2, learn to keep that student forever. So I'm going to say that again. These are your 2 most important roles, high value tasks. Number 1, learn to attract and enroll a student. Number 2, learn to keep them forever. Okay, moving on to the next point. What changed my business? So again, I've mentioned lots of it in there. So I'm not trying to promote that so that we can get our 23 pence off Amazon, whatever we get per copy. It's to try and help you as a school owner. And again, have a look at some of the blogs on the Insight webpage on my website. So what helped me was, maybe 2008, 2009-ish, something like that. I started to really read books upon how to build businesses, how to build systems, how to market better, how to build teams, how to lead people, and so on. And then I started to attend seminars and workshops. At that time, they were very, very business-related, generic business. So again, lots of the books behind me there, they're all generic things, and it's just about pulling information from those. But what really did help me was obviously to invest in a very, very professional mentor who'd been where I was, who'd achieved way more than I thought I could achieve, and therefore they fast-tracked my experience and fast-tracked my results. Yes, so what changed with me was shedding the old skin of thinking I need to do it this way because, I haven't mentioned this yet, this is what my instructor taught me to do. unless your instructor was running a 300 active school where everything was systemized, the retention was down to 2.5% or less. The enrollments rate, as soon as he came in for the second lesson, the enrollments were 90% and above success rate. And obviously he was delivering, or she was delivering, a fantastic program, not just technical skills but character development and personal development. Then of course learn from them. But if they were just, and again this is no disrespect to one of my original instructors, if it was just karate twice a week, 1 hour lessons, then there's always going to be a limit as to what you can achieve. So you need to be learning from people who have achieved what you wish to achieve. And when I speak to my mentees as well, we've got to think of it now. People like Rafa Nadal, Tiger Woods, Williams sisters, any, Alexander Usyk or anything like that. People at the top of their game still have coaches. Olympic athletes still have coaches. Not only do they have coaches, they'll have coaches for particular parts of that game or their skill. So why would we not have them? Okay. So yeah, hopefully that helps a few people. Let's have a look there. Technical ability isn't enough. We need to continually develop up here. We need to make sure we're building systems. Common self-limiting beliefs. Again, be aware of what you're telling yourself in here. People I can't afford that in my area. I can't charge this much. It's too much of a change. I live in a bad area and so on. Instructors staying stuck because they stick with what they've always done, and therefore they're going to get the results that they've always got. And then continually keep educating yourself and the importance of systems. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully that helped a few people. Give this video a like, share it to any other martial arts school owners if you wish. But if you are serious, again I'm going to underline that, serious, and if you're committed, and if you're willing to maybe empty some of your knowledge to pick up some new knowledge, then have a look at the website. And I offer 4, sometimes 5, but mainly 4, just 1 a week, school evaluation sessions where we can really help you find out what's holding your school back, what are these obviously things that are limiting your growth, and obviously the things that you need to focus on next. All right, so there's the book again one more time. And again, like I said, it's not for the 36p we get from Amazon. How to Build a Highly Profitable Martial Arts School. Get a copy there, read it, watch some more of these YouTube videos, read some of the blogs, whatever it is, but keep taking steps further forward. Keep investing, I say this on every one of my videos, in that black belt mindset, and it's about you up here and your self-belief. Okay, forget about listening to any other broke instructors who aren't willing to grow and believe that their technical ability will will flood their school with intro traffic, because it doesn't work that way. Okay, good luck. Hope you made notes. Hope you've taken something from this, and take care. I'll see you next time. All the best.